Righty. In order to learn our next method of solving quadratics, we need to do some review of factoring, okay? Because we're going to solve quadratics by factoring. And we did factoring at the beginning of this trimester, but we know that was just forever ago and we may have forgotten. So let's spend some time today reviewing factoring. So first off, what does it mean to factor? If the directions tell you to factor, what that means is you are finding what multiplies together to get an expression. Just like if you think of the number 8, factors of 8, 1 and 8, 2 and 4. That's factors of a number. We're talking factors of expressions, okay? So we're going to get into factoring polynomials and how we go about doing those. So, yikes, dropping stuff here. Let's refresh the steps to factoring. When we factor, first and foremost, there we go, now my pen's working, is we want to look, oh my goodness, look for the greatest common factor. Always look for the greatest common factor first. Okay. Then, if there are two terms, we can possibly factor by difference of squares. So if there are two terms, we ask ourselves, can we factor by the difference of squares? As I go through this chart, we're going to do some problems below. And I should have done problem 1 after we said look for the GCF. So let's do number 1. 6x squared plus 3x. Okay, I'm trying to figure out what is the largest thing, the largest factor that both of these are divisible by. Well, 6 and 3 are both divisible by a 3. And then I've got an x squared and an x. So that means they both have an x in common. Okay, so essentially what we're doing is we're dividing each of those by 3x. Well, 6x squared divided by 3x is 2x. And a positive 3x divided by a positive 3x is 1. In my parentheses, I do have two terms, but because my degree here is 1, I know I can't go any further. Okay, let's look at number 3. X squared minus 25. First off, do I have a greatest common factor? Is there something that x squared and 25 are both divisible by? The answer to that is no. Can I factor this using the difference of squares? Well, difference of squares means you've got two terms separated by a subtraction, and you can square something to get both of them. So what do we square to get x squared? Well, that's x. And what do we square to get 25? That's 5. So my factors are x plus 5 and x minus 5. Again, both have degrees of 1, so I know I can't go any further. All right, let's go back up to our chart. So that's what happens if we have two terms. What happens if we have, I'm going to jump to 4 terms. If we have 4 terms, then we factor by grouping. So let's look at number 2 below. X cubed plus 2x squared plus 4x plus 8. All right, I don't have a GCF of all 4 terms. Grouping is where we do our 2 groups. What is the greatest common factor of my first group? What do they both have in common? Well, they both have an x squared. Okay. What do we multiply by x squared to get x cubed? X. And what do we multiply by x squared to get a plus 2x squared? Plus 2. Okay. Now let's take a look at my second group. It begins with a plus, so this for sure is going to be a plus. What is the greatest common factor of 4x plus 8? What are they both divisible by? 4. What do I take times a positive 4 to get a positive 4x? X. And what do I take times a positive 4 to get a positive 8? 2. Notice that's the same. Hopefully this is coming back to you when we learned how to factor these. So x plus 2 is one of my factors. And then what I took out for my GCFs is my other factor. Well, this has got a squared. Can I go farther? Can I do difference of squared here? The answer to that is no, because of that addition. It's not a difference. All right. Go back up to our chart here. Now, what happens when we have 3 terms? Okay, what happens when it is a trinomial? Well, we've got a couple different situations. Okay, A might be equal to 1. A might be greater than 1. Okay, so in the instance where A is equal to 1, you've got the expression x squared plus bx plus c. We find out what multiplies to get b. Nope. Can't think. I'm making this video early in the morning. What multiplies to get c? And what adds to get b? And we can refer back to that factor pairs chart to do that. All right, so let's look at number 4. Okay, number 4 is a trinomial. We do not have a greatest common factor. So I need to think about what multiplies to 15 and adds to 8. Okay, so I'm going to look at my factor pairs chart, and I'm going to look at the 15 box. What multiplies to 15? Well, that's either 1 and 15 or 3 and 5. And what adds to a positive 8? Well, that's going to be 3 and 5. So my 2 numbers are 3 and 5. So my factors are x plus 3 and x plus 5. All right, back up to this little review section. What happens when a is greater than 1? So if you've got an a value out in front that is greater than 1. Okay, so we're still looking at ax squared plus bx plus c. This is where we multiplied to find AC. So when the A value out in front was something other than 1, we had to multiply the A value and the C value together. And technically, you can do that when the A value is 1. You can do this method then also. It's just extra steps, so I wouldn't encourage it. So now we think about what multiplies to get AC and what adds to get B. So let's look at number 5. Okay, 2x squared plus 11x plus 5. Do I have a greatest common factor? Well, 2, 11, and 5 aren't divisible by anything except 1. X squared, x, and no variable, so no greatest common factor in this one. So my A value is greater than 1. Okay, so this is where I multiply. 2 times 5 is a positive 10. So I'm thinking about what multiplies to 10 and adds to get positive 11. If we need to go to the chart, we can. Okay, what multiplies to 10 and adds to get positive 11? 1 and 10. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite this expression. But instead of writing my middle term, I'm going to replace it. So 2x squared, instead of writing 11x, I'm going to write plus 1x plus 10x. And then I'll go back and do my plus 5. So all I'm doing is replacing that middle term with something that it's equivalent to. 1x plus 10x is 11x. Now you've got 4 terms. How do we factor when we have 4 terms? Grouping. The greatest common factor of my first group, 2x squared plus 1x, is x. What do I multiply by x to get to x squared? 2x. What do I multiply by x to get plus 1x? Plus 1. All right, my second group begins with a plus, so I've got a plus. The greatest common factor of 10x plus 5 is 5. What do I multiply by 5 to get 10x? 2x. What do I multiply by 5 to get 5? 1. Notice those are the same. So my final answer, 2x plus 1 times x plus 5. All right. So let's take a look at number 6. Okay, keeping in mind all of these different steps in terms of factoring. Very first step, always, 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 always look for the greatest common factor. Do I have a greatest common factor in number 6? Yeah, I do. It's 3. They're all divisible by 3. Oh my goodness. What do I take times 3 to get 3x squared? X squared. What do I take times 3 to get plus 6x? Plus 2x. And what do I take times 3 to get a minus 24? Minus 8. All right. Now I take a look at what's in my parentheses. Can I go further? All right, I've got 3 terms, so I look up above. 3 terms. My A value is 1. So I just need to think about what multiplies to negative 8 and adds to 2. Okay, well, if we think about what gives me 8, it's 1 and 8, 2 and 4. Okay, so if we look at our factor pairs chart for 8, 1 and 8, 2 and 4. But I need to get a negative 8, so that means one of them needs to be negative. When I add them together, though, it's a positive, so that means my smaller number has to be negative. Do negative 1 and 8 add up to be 2? No. How about negative 2 and 4? Yeah. So don't forget to bring down your greatest common factor. And then we've got x minus 2, x plus 4. All right. I would like you to work through 7 and 8 here. Okay, these are all review. We've done factoring before. So we're going to pause the video for you to work through 7 and 8. Then we'll pull it back together to check those two. All right, for number 7, hopefully you got x plus 7 times x plus 1. The order doesn't matter. It could be x plus 1 times x plus 7. For number 8, final answer, 2x plus 3 times x plus 4. Again, that can be flip-flopped, x plus 4 times 2x plus 3. All right, if you didn't get that, hit pause to fix your work. All right, your assignment is to do 9 through 20 on this page. Okay, look back at that chart. Remember GCF first. GCF first. Maybe make a reminder for yourself written up here. And then 2 terms, 3 terms, or 4 terms. Use that chart that we made on this particular page to help you out. All right, good luck. All right. You can pause the video right now to check these ones. And then you can pause again to check these.